brothers. Welcome back to the Man of War. My name is Rafa Conde, and of course, I am a man on a mission here to transform you into a modern-day warrior, a man who lives a life that embodies that warrior spirit, a man who walks that warrior's path to be a stronger husband, father, leader, a man, a visionary who can look at the world right now in a different way, a man with a different perspective. Why? Because there are far few between warrior-minded men who live in our society. Now, this is the deal. When you go back hundreds, maybe even thousands of years ago, as a society, we let go of these tenets, virtues, principles that were so dear and so powerful to these warrior cultures. What we do here, and this is the only reason we exist, my brothers, is because we are bringing those principles back home into our society, back home into men's life. This is what the Man of War movement is all about. So if you're new out there and you may be confused a little bit, who the hell is Man of War? Guess what? We are all about bringing warrior-minded men into our society, about forging them, about showing them the path, the way, giving them that frame structure. So important to this day and age. All right, so for those that have been asking me about the Man of War Crucible, all right, I'm going to open up a little bit of a can of worms here. Okay, the Man of War Crucible is not a military boot camp. It is not a men's retreat. It is not some personal development meditative camp. It is a rite of passage. Listen to me very clearly. A rite of passage for men who are looking for constant improvement in their life. They're also looking to enter a very powerful, an elite brotherhood of men. Now, when I say brotherhood, I'm talking about a brotherhood here. All right, there's nothing like it right now in the world that I know of that has the tightness, the cohesiveness of our society. We are growing so fast right now. Look, the bottom line is this, man. If you are a committed man that wants to make a change, an honorable individual who says, you know what, this is for me, I say this: fill out an application. It's not easy to get in. It's a 2-phase selection process. You know, we go through about anywhere between 400 and 450 applicants every week. All right, so we are well over 1,500 applications a month, and we take maybe 6 to 7% of those applications. So, yes, we have high standards, but I got to tell you, it is a very powerful program, a transformational program. All right. And if you're interested in also making your relationship better with your wife, with your kids, with your parents, with your brothers, with other loved ones around you, this will change you without a doubt. Listen, we just got done with the gathering a couple of days ago. All right. The gathering is when we come together. All the groups come together for 2 days, 2 very powerful days. The most important facet of this gathering was the women, because they literally flew from all over the United States with their husbands to come to the gathering to support them. And to me, that was very powerful. And the fact that I had so many women walk up to me and say, thank you, shake my hand and say, look, you have helped my husband. You have forged him into a different man. I don't take that lightly. All right. And it's not just me. It's my cadre of coaches around me. They are inspiring men every single day, leading the charge. And I'm just honored to have these men around me, honored to be part of this organization, to be the leader of this organization, and to see it grow day in and day out. Now, with that said, I'm going to bring this to the table. All right. And this is what today's little chit chat is going to be about. It's going to be about weak-minded men. wishy-washy procrastinators, dishonorable fucking liars. I'm going to give it to you like it is. Okay, because the reality here is this. A lot of you need to wake up. You need to be shaken up. And I'm asking you from the bottom of my heart, if you are one of those men that's sitting there on the sidelines, that just can't get that motor revving, that has no purpose, that constantly bullshits himself and bullshits everybody around him, to step up and do something different with your life. It's not good enough to think that because you did something in the past, you can kind of sit around and do nothing today. As a matter of fact, as a warrior-minded man, a man that's stepping into the battleground of life day in and day out, you must sharpen your sword every single day. That's it. Every single day, you must sharpen that edge, because if not, guess what? That edge is getting duller. It's getting rusty. You're falling into complacency, into mediocrity, and that is not how a warrior-minded man operates. Get that through your head. So many people in this society are claiming toxic masculinity. They're bringing down men from all facets. Literally, you look around and it's just men have a different look, a different feel, the way they act, the way they walk, the way that they take things. They're an emotional roller coaster. It's like they're in their period every single day. They take things the wrong way. They get offended. It's touchy. There is no character. There is no trueness or wholeness to them. They're missing purpose. They're missing drive. They're missing internal fortitude. They're not relentless in any way, shape, or form. Once they fall, they can't get back up. And don't tell me, okay, because I got a lot of gurus out there that are saying, well, that's not necessarily true. I think that, millennials and the younger generation are doing great, and they bring a lot to the table. Listen, the bottom line is this. Yes, there are a few of them that are pretty good, but the percentages are very high on the other side. Men that just don't have that courage to step up and live a life that truly, all right, embodies a warrior spirit, right? That intensity, that energy, that fire in the gut is missing. It's almost like if you direct something at individuals, at men specifically nowadays, they get offended. That fire blows out. That flame kind of breaks down, and the next thing you know, they're walking around in fumes with their head in between their legs. All right, so this is the deal. How can we change that? How can we as men that may be falling apart in one way or another, that don't have the courage, that are dishonorable, that are wishy-washy, that are procrastinators, that are not action takers, how can we embed something in our lives to make that change? Well, I'm going to start off by saying discipline and consistency are crucial to the transformation of a man. But above everything else is that you have to be committed. You have to say to yourself, I am committed to making the change today. You have to say to yourself that I am committed, all right, to seeing not just life itself differently, but seeing who I am differently. See, everyone has a perception of who they are. And then there's a perception from other people. And it's typically, if you ask a man, hey, describe yourself versus somebody else describing them, there's typically a clear disconnect between the two. Why? Because most men are bullshitting themselves. And the reality is that I'm going to take what somebody else from the outside sees and acknowledges more so than I am going to take from the man himself. So when I sit down in interviews and, men tell me, well, I'm this and I'm that and I'm this, guess what? There is a clean cut difference between what they're saying and how they perform in the crucible, because the bottom line is that when these men are in the man of war crucible, and how they perform in that battleground is exactly how they perform in life, 100%. Listen to me, 100%. So when weakness starts creeping up and those demons start sneaking around from underneath your armpits and start crawling up into your shoulders and whispering these, nasty things into your ear, you have to be stronger. You have to swipe them off your shoulder and continue forging ahead and create your own music in your head. Once you have that ability and you have that confidence, life starts changing. So let's go back here. All right, let's talk a little bit about how we achieve the commitment. All right, so it's 3 steps here. Commit. All right, then of course, instill discipline, and then we have sustainability. So how do you take that step to be committed? Well, one easy way is to look at your family and ask yourself this very, very difficult question. Do they deserve better? Think about that. Do they deserve better than what you're giving them, than what you are able to put on the table for them? And more importantly, the time that you're with them. Do you give them the time of day? Think about that. Be honest with yourself. Because in the end, I guarantee you that there's a very, very good shot that the answer is going to be yes, they deserve better. And guess what? If they deserve better, if that doesn't spark you up and force you and drive you into commitment, into saying, yes, I have to do it for them, then I don't know what will in life. And yes, we can say all day long that we're going to do it for ourselves. But somehow, some way, based on the experience that I have speaking to men, when they are doing it for their families initially, that's almost like the initial traction that they need, that first step. Then, as the process moves forward, it becomes about them. And that's the way it should be. But it's almost like you need that spark. And typically, when you go to your family, they will give you that spark, because in reality, you know they deserve better than you, than what you're giving them, than what you're putting out for them. They are worth it. And so are you. So, once you have commitment, and it doesn't just have to be family, it can be loved ones, okay? It could be something that ignites you. You got to look for what that is. Something that ignites you to make that commitment, to be better. For you younger guys that are not married, it may be getting yourself a house, a car, an apartment, something to take that first step that ignites you to make that commitment. Now, once you've crossed the door into the commitment zone, guess what happens? You have to activate your discipline. And that's when consistency happens. Doing it every day. Yes, we're talking about dealing with your fears, challenging yourself, doing the improbable, going outside the box, achieving discomfort.